So let's just go through some of these headings in the dashboard. So going to the dashboard itself, you get your notices here, and we can set up WooCommerce. If we have an online store, we can set up WooCommerce, and I will take you through that in a separate tutorial because that's deserving of a tutorial all of its own. And WordPress gives you some guidelines as to the different things that you can do here. You can write your first blog post, you can add an about page, you can set up your home page. And then we have all the different events that are happening. So it's good because it keeps you updated on everything that's going on. If we look up here, we can see that there are things that need to be updated, and it's really important to keep everything up to date, because otherwise you can start to find that conflicts happen. So we'll just go to updates here. And we've got a couple of standard plugins that are installed as a matter of course on all stores. When I installed WordPress, I actually opted to have WooCommerce installed as well. So I have a plugin here that needs setting up. So in order to update plugins, it's really simple. Click on there and click update. Again, make sure you've done a backup first. It's really, really important that you've done a backup, because funny things can happen, and the last thing that you want is to lose all your work. At the moment, it's not such a big deal because this is just a demo site with no content, but you can just imagine if you've been doing, you've been building a store and you've been adding lots of content, the last thing you want is for the site to break down because there's a conflict in one of your plugins. So let's have another look at the plugins. The plugins are basically the software that you add to your WordPress site in order to increase and extend the functionality of your site. And one of the biggest pitfalls I find that people fall into is that it's a bit like Christmas. When you find out just how many plugins there are and what they can do, the temptation is to install everything. And that is a recipe for disaster, because every additional piece of software or plugin that you install is another opportunity for a conflict to arise. So I always recommend that you keep your plugins to an absolute minimum. That said, there are certain plugins that are absolutely essential for the smooth running of your site and to protect it from hacking, so security and lots of other different things as well. And again, I'm going to talk about plugins in more detail in another tutorial, but let's have a look what we have here as standard. So we've got a Kismet anti-spam. That is always installed as an automatic plugin in every WordPress site, and the first thing I do is delete it, because it's actually quite a bloated plugin and it can slow your site down. And in order to get the functionality and have it protect your site from spam, there's an awful lot that you have to do. You have to go and create an account, and then there's quite a lot of setup. And it does actually tax the performance of your site. It does load your server. So I would much rather use something a little bit more lightweight, like Anti-Spam Bee is my favorite, because it's lightweight. You don't have to go and create any accounts outside of your WordPress dashboard, and it just does what it says on the tin. Another one that we get on every install, every fresh install, is Hello Dolly. This is not just a plugin. It symbolizes the hope and enthusiasm of an entire generation, summed up in 2 words, sung most famously by Louis Armstrong. So they always put this on every single new installation. So again, that's another one that I delete. So let's get that deleted there. Okay, so that's all we have on our fresh install. And I've only actually created this install as a demonstration to show you what it looks like when you start. Now, down here we have the plugin editor. My advice here is leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Anything that you mess with here isn't backed up and it can absolutely kill your site. So my advice here is leave well alone. Okay, so we're going to leave that. And in fact, on the sites that I set up for clients, I actually install a special dashboard that actually restricts what my clients can access. And funnily enough, that's something that will be hidden from them because I don't want them messing with that.